even after 80, but only if you send the right signals at the right time, and surprisingly, the very first signal starts with what you add to your breakfast. See, oatmeal gives you fiber and some vitamins. Yes, but it's almost entirely carbohydrate. It lacks the critical amino acids your body needs to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, especially in the morning when your body is in a catabolic breakdown state from overnight fasting. This is why adding one specific nutrient to your oats, which I'll reveal in a moment, can change the game entirely. This is called sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and the oatmeal mistake most people make strength. And it doesn't just lead to frailty. It increases your risk of falls, fractures, insulin resistance, and even cognitive decline. Muscles aren't just about movement. They're metabolic organs that regulate blood sugar, inflammation, and even immune function. Losing muscle equals sign losing protection. Why many seniors eat enough calories but still lose muscle. We're going to explore what that nutrient is, how it works in your physiology, and why it's so powerful when paired with your first meal of the day. More importantly, we still unpack the science behind muscle loss after 60, including what your liver and insulin have to do with muscle retention, why protein alone isn't said enough, and timing matters, how cortisol affects muscle breakdown overnight, the role of leucine and muscle anabolic resistance, and finally, how one addition to your oatmeal can reverse this trend fast. If you're over 60 and serious about maintaining strength, energy, and independence, this could be one of the simplest and most effective upgrades to your daily routine. And if you find this helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you optimize your health naturally without relying on medication. Ready to unlock muscle growth again? Let's dive into what's really going on inside your body and how to fix it from the inside out. Here's what most people don't what causes age-related muscle breakdown realize. By the time you wake up, your body has already spent the last 10 to 12 hours breaking itself down. That's not a mistake. It's part of how your body survives the night. But if you're over 60 and you don't intervene early in the day, this breakdown process can outpace your ability to rebuild, and that leads to gradual chronic muscle loss. Let me explain. When you sleep, your body enters a fasted state. Your blood sugar drops, your insulin levels fall, and your brain shifts into repair mode. This all sounds good, and it is, but there's a catch. In order to maintain stable energy levels while you sleep, your body increases a hormone called cortisol. Now, cortisol isn't the villain. In fact, it's essential for survival. But cortisol has one big side effect. It breaks down tissues, especially muscle proteins, to turn them into glucose for your brain and vital organs. This is called a catabolic state. Catabolic meaning breakdown. Here sits the analogy I like to use. Think of your muscles as your body's savings account. During the night when no food is coming in, your body pulls small amounts from that savings account, especially if you didn't have a protein-rich dinner or if your metabolism is already running on empty due to aging. Now, here's where things get worse. If your first meal in the morning is only carbohydrate, say just oatmeal with fruit, you spike blood sugar, raise insulin, but you don't provide the one thing your muscles are begging for. Amino acids, the building blocks of protein. This is why so many seniors wake up feeling stiff, weak, or even lightheaded. Their muscles are quietly being broken down to feed their system, especially after age 60, when natural levels of anabolic hormones like growth hormone and testosterone decline. What the research shows is this. The first meal after a fasted period, like breakfast, is your single greatest opportunity to trigger muscle protein synthesis or MPS. But to do that, you, the science of muscle protein synthesis, need more than calories. You need specific amino acids in the right amount. You've probably heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's not exactly true. Unless you're over 60 and trying to preserve muscle, then what you eat for breakfast becomes mission-critical. So, the catabolic state continues even though you've technically eaten. This is why so many people over 60 lose muscle even when they eat 3 meals a day. And yet most breakfast foods marketed to seniors, oatmeal, toast, cereal, bananas, have almost zero of these amino acids. So you end up feeding your body but starving your muscles. The fix: you must interrupt the catabolic state within the first hour of waking by giving your muscles the signal to grow. And that signal is protein, specifically leucine-rich protein. We still cover the exact type and amount of protein to use in the next section, but for now, here sits your first protocol. Within 60 minutes of waking, combine your oatmeal with at least 20 to 30 g of complete protein, ideally one rich in leucine, like whey, collagen peptides, or high-quality plant-based blends. Avoid eating just carbohydrates alone, especially first thing in the morning. They suppress appetite but don't nourish muscle. Now that you understand the problem, morning muscle breakdown, let's explore why oatmeal alone can't fix it, and what it's missing that your body desperately needs. If this is helpful so far, hit that like button and consider subscribing. I post clear science-based tools like this every day to help you rebuild your health from the inside out. Oatmeal is often called the perfect breakfast. High in fiber, low in fat, good for cholesterol, and yes, it does offer benefits. Beta-gal-glucan for heart health, slow digesting carbs for energy, and even some minerals like magnesium and manganese. But if you stir over 60 and trying to preserve muscle, here sits the role of leucine, creatine, and protein in breakfast. What you need to know: oatmeal is not enough, not by a long shot, especially if you're eating it alone or just topping it with fruit or almond milk. Here sits why muscle is built from protein, specifically from amino acids. These amino acids act like construction materials, but they also act like keys that unlock your body's muscle-building machinery. And among all the amino acids, there's one in particular that your muscles are waiting for: leucine. Leucine is like flipping a switch. When it reaches a high enough threshold in your bloodstream, usually around 2.5 to 3 g, it tells your body. Now here's the problem: oatmeal has virtually no leucine. In fact, 1 cup of cooked oats only contains about 5 g of total protein and less than 0.3 g of leucine. That's nowhere near the activation threshold for muscle growth. We got building materials. Let's repair and grow muscle tissue. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine trying to turn on a light with a dimmer switch. You slide it up a little and the bulb flickers, but it doesn't turn on. You need to hit a threshold for it to light up. That's how muscle protein synthesis works. Unless you hit that loosening threshold, your body doesn't flip the muscle building switch, especially after age 60, when the threshold is even higher due to a condition called anabolic resistance. Anabolic resistance means your aging muscles don't respond to protein the way they used to. You need more of the right amino acids, more strategically delivered, to get the same effect you got in your 30s. And oatmeal doesn't deliver that. On its own, it's a dim signal. So what happens? Even if you add almond butter or chia seeds, you still won't get enough leucine. Those foods are rich in healthy fats and fiber, but they're not complete muscle-building fuels. And over time, this compounds a few grams of missed protein each morning, multiplied by months and years, equals noticeable muscle loss. We're talking smaller legs, what to add to oatmeal, exact nutrients explained: weaker grip strength, slower walking speed, and higher risk for falls and frailty. You eat breakfast, your blood sugar goes up, your insulin rises, but your muscles stay in maintenance mode, or worse, they keep breaking down from the overnight catabolic state we just talked about. but there's such good news here, and it's as simple. When you upgrade your oatmeal with the right muscle-stimulating protein, you transform it from a heart-friendly carb bowl into a powerful anabolic breakfast that supports strength, metabolism, and longevity. Now, I'll reveal exactly what to add, the specific nutrient clinically shown to reverse muscle loss even in seniors who don't exercise. You'll learn what it is, how much to take, and the easiest way to blend it right into your oats. Stick with me. The solution is simple, fast, and backed by strong evidence. We've seen how oatmeal alone lacks the amino acid power needed to flip the muscle growth switch. So, what do you add to it? Here's the answer: whey protein isolate or a high-leucine complete protein alternative. Now, before you tune out thinking, I already get enough protein. Stay with me because the type and timing of protein make all the difference after 60. Here's such what the research shows. Let's break this down. Whey protein isolate is a fast-digesting complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids your muscles need to grow. But more importantly, it's extremely rich in leucine, the key trigger amino acid we mentioned earlier. Another randomized trial showed that when leucine intake reached 2.66 g or higher per meal, it overcame age-related anabolic resistance and reactivated muscle building, even in sedentary older adults. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed 20 to 30 g of whey protein at breakfast had significantly higher rates of muscle protein synthesis compared to those who consumed the same amount later in the day. And guess what? Bonus: add-ons that improve absorption and impact. You can hit that threshold easily with 1 scoop of high-quality whey isolate, which delivers around 25 g of protein and 2.5 to 3 g of leucine. Think of your muscles like a locked door. Leucine is the key. Most breakfasts don't even have the key on the ring. They might give you the door knob, some carbs, or even the frame, a few other nutrients, but without leucine, the door to muscle growth stays shut. Now, let me give you a visual analogy, and when you combine it with oatmeal, a slow-burning carb source, you get something remarkable. A dual-fuel breakfast. You stabilize blood sugar, provide lasting energy, and trigger muscle growth all at once. Here sits how to do it. Whey opens that door. The muscle-building oatmeal protocol for 60-plus adults. 1/2 to 3/4 cup rolled oats. 1 scoop 25 to 30 g of whey protein isolate stirred in after cooking. Optional add-ins: cinnamon, flaxseed, blueberries or collagen peptides. Optional none: dairy milk, unsweetened almond or coconut. You can stir the protein powder in while the oats are still warm, not boiling, to keep the amino acids intact. It mixes smoothly and actually enhances the flavor, especially with vanilla or chocolate whey. Look for a plant-based blend that includes pea, rice, and fermented protein sources, but make sure it lists leucine content and includes at least 2.5 g per serving. That's key. What if you can tolerate dairy? You can also add collagen peptides, which are great for joints and skin, but remember, collagen is incomplete on its own. You still need a full-spectrum protein to build muscle. And here sits something else. So in 1 scoop, you're not just feeding your muscles, you're giving your whole metabolism a major upgrade. Whey protein doesn't just help your muscles. It also supports your immune system, promotes satiety, fullness, and can help regulate blood sugar when paired with complex carbs like oats. Bonus tip: if you're trying to lose fat and build muscle, this combo is ideal. You'll feel full for hours, reduce cravings, and stay in fat-burning mode while still building strength. If this is adding actionable protocols you can start tomorrow value so far, hit the like button and consider subscribing. I break down science-based health strategies like this every day, and my goal is to help you stay strong, energized, and independent as you age. In the next section, we'll go even deeper. looking at how insulin, liver metabolism, and protein timing all work together to enhance or block muscle growth depending on what you do in the morning. So, you now know that whey protein or a leucine-rich equivalent is the key to rebuilding muscle after 60. But here's something equally important that most people overlook. When you eat protein is just as important as how much. Let me explain. Your body doesn't build muscle continuously throughout the day. It does it in pulses triggered by signals, and the biggest, most important pulse happens after fasting, like first thing in the morning. This is where your first meal becomes more than just calories. It becomes a metabolic message. Now, let's add insulin to the picture. Insulin isn't just a blood sugar hormone. It's actually an anabolic hormone, meaning it helps your body build and preserve tissue, including muscle. When insulin rises in response to a meal, it tells your cells to absorb nutrients and store energy. If you eat just carbohydrates like oatmeal with fruit, insulin rises, yes, but without enough amino acids in the bloodstream. That insulin will prioritize fat storage, final advice and summary, and glucose metabolism over muscle growth. But here's the catch. For insulin to support muscle growth, it needs to rise alongside amino acids, especially leucine. On the other hand, if you combine those carbs with complete protein, your insulin response becomes a muscle-preserving signal. The amino acids enter muscle cells. Insulin helps shuttle them in.